wildfires get so big so fast, Chris?
That's right, and a large part of that has to do with the wind and really just the vegetation that they have down in Southern California and really just the desert Southwest as a whole. But let's go ahead and break things down. Why do these wildfires happen? Because we see them each and every year, and part of that is the conditions needed for wildfires. You need dry vegetation, low humidity, and you also need the wind. California is keen for having those ingredients. And to start a fire, you need a heat source, fuel, and oxygen. The vegetation of California and the desert Southwest is perfect fuel to drive these fires along. And then once that gets started, all it takes is a little spark to get a little flame. Once you add the wind to the mix, then you get a wildfire that spreads rather rapidly. And the wind is also something that's very common down there. You'll hear it known as the Santa Ana winds. And oftentimes you have a region of high pressure over the Pacific Northwest, but that brings in northeasterly winds into the Sierra Nevada mountain ranges. And those winds rush down the mountains, coming at about 25 to 35 miles per hour, gusting up to 60, and that leads to a critical fire danger. So these Santa Ana winds, they come down the mountains. You have this descending dry air that is also very warm air. You also have a lot of the low humidity that leads to a lot of friction to help pull and push a lot of these fires along. And this is some of the same areas where you have the elevated and critical fire risk just as we go through today. But here is the good news. I talked about split flow yesterday. As we go into the Thanksgiving week, we will see storm systems developing off the Pacific coast. Those will work their way into the desert Southwest. And so for California, we actually have a 50% probability of above normal precipitation as we go through the next couple of days, which is, of course, what they need when it comes to those fires over there. So we're going to be watching their rain chances rather closely and ensuring, or at least hoping anyway, that we can get something for those guys. They really need the relief. It's been dry there for years, and now we're seeing some historic fires.
Hopefully a little bit of good news there. I mean, those images are just so hard to look at.
They really are. And I know the Gatlinburg fire that happened a couple years ago was dire for us in Kentucky and Tennessee, but seeing that almost makes the Gatlinburg fire look like it was nothing.
Deadliest in state history. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
So we do have a positive update to share this morning when it comes to a fire at the Blue Moon Bar and Grill on University Avenue.
Dane County Dispatch